The drama surrounding Caitlin Clark and the WNBA just took a turn that no one saw coming, except maybe Christine Brennan. In a bombshell that rocked the foundation of women's basketball, Brennan, one of the most respected journalists in American sports, exposed a stunning truth. The WNBA wasn't just unprepared for Caitlin Clark's arrival, it was willfully ignorant, maybe even hostile. And now, the league is scrambling under the weight of its own pettiness, mismanagement, and insecurity. Caitlin Clark isn't just a good player. She's a generational lightning bolt, a cultural avalanche that's rewriting how American and the world sees women's basketball. And yet, as Brennan reveals in her searing expose, the WNBA treated her rise not like a blessing, but like a problem. That's not speculation. That's straight from someone who has spent decades covering sports from every angle. Someone who has watched icons like Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan revolutionize their games, only to now see Clark being met with hostility instead of celebration. According to Brennan, who just dropped a new book based on extensive interviews, data, and her own seasoned instincts, the WNBA's biggest failure wasn't just missing the Caitlin Clark moment. It was denying it. Altogether, she paints a picture of a league so deeply entrenched in its own mediocrity that it couldn't even fathom a superstar falling into its lap. They were blindsided not because the signs weren't there, but because they refused to look. This isn't a conspiracy theory cobbled together by fans online. Brennan has the receipts. She describes how just days after Clark declared for the 2024 WNBA draft, she called a senior league official, expecting enthusiasm, something big. Instead, she got a half-hearted comparison to Maya Moore. No disrespect to Moore, who is a legend in her own right, but outside of dedicated basketball fans, her name didn't carry nationwide recognition. That response showed everything Brennan needed to know. The league had no idea what was coming, and it's not like Clark's rise came out of nowhere. For years, she had been the star of college basketball, shattering records, selling out arenas, and pulling in TV ratings that outpaced even the men's Final Four. During her time at Iowa, she turned the sport into a pop culture event. People were lining up outside Big Ten arenas in the freezing cold just to get a glimpse. Fathers were texting their buddies in disbelief. Sports fans who had never watched a women's game before were suddenly glued to their TVs, Brennan noticed. The WNBA didn't. What makes Brennan's revelations even more damning is how avoidable this all was. The blueprint for success had been handed to the league on a silver platter. Instead of leaning in, the WNBA hesitated. Instead of elevating Clark, they let her become a target. Instead of shielding their most valuable asset, they watched as referees ignored flagrant fouls. Veteran players took cheap shots, and legacy voices in the media worked overtime to undermine her. Why? Jealousy, insecurity, pettiness. Brennan doesn't tiptoe around it. She makes it clear that what Clark faced wasn't just resistance, it was systemic. This is a league that is 74% black, and while Brennan doesn't pretend to speak for what it's like to be black in America, she does confront the racial undertones head-on. A white woman from Iowa was suddenly the face of the league. And instead of recognizing that her success could benefit everyone, the response from many insiders was to ice her out. What should have been a unified embrace of a new era became a civil war. Coaches like Cheryl Reeve made snide remarks. Players like Diana Taurasi downplayed her talent. WNBA legends like Cheryl Swoops spread rumors and misinformation. Even the Olympic Committee seemed lukewarm. Brennan's reporting makes it crystal clear. Clark's presence threatened the fragile egos of those who felt they had earned the spotlight and couldn't bear to share it. Yet the numbers don't lie. Clark sells out every arena she steps into. Her jersey flies off the shelves. Her games draw millions of viewers. She is, without exaggeration, the biggest thing the WNBA has ever seen. And still, the league wouldn't figure out how to ride the wave. Brennan doesn't just indict the players and coaches. She saves her harshest criticism for the league's leadership, especially Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. While chaos unfolded around Clark, from dirty fouls to online smear campaigns, the commissioner was nowhere to be found. According to Brennan, the silence wasn't just definite, it was deliberate. Whether it was cluelessness or complicity, The result was the same. The WNBA left their biggest asset out in the cold, and the cost? Astronomical. Brennan details how this failure left millions of dollars on the table. Bigger endorsements, international TV deals, crossover events, all squandered because a handful of insiders couldn't stomach the idea of someone else being the main character. Instead of building a dynasty era around Clark, they let resentment rot the foundation. What's even more embarrassing is how independent media saw this coming long before the league did. YouTubers, podcasters, and TikTok creators were waving red flags, practically screaming that Clark was going to change everything. But the gatekeepers of women's basketball dismissed it all. They thought they knew better. They didn't. Brennan's book is a devastating postmortem of what could have been the greatest leap forward in WNBA history. She details how the league didn't just miss a moment, they tried to suppress it. All because Clark didn't fit their idea of what a star should be. She wasn't from the right background. She didn't play the right way. She didn't have the right story. The fans didn't care. They saw brilliance, swagger, and generational talent. They showed up. And the league flinched. Instead of seeing Clark as a hero, they painted her as a villain. Instead of embracing the friction as part of the entertainment, they resisted it like it was an infection. Brennan exposes how the league could have created rivalries that drew millions. Instead, they acted like popularity was a threat to purity. It's the kind of thinking that belongs in a museum, not a professional sports league trying to survive. In 22.5, the hardest pill to swallow didn't have to be this way. Brennan lays out exactly what could have been done. Promote her, protect her, and let the wave lift everyone. But the WNBA chose to fumble the bag in the most spectacular way possible. Now, as the league scrambles to pick up the pieces in Clark's second season, the damage has already been done. The trust is broken. The moment was missed, and yet through all the chaos, Caitlin Clark keeps showing up. She keeps dropping dimes, hitting logo threes, packing arenas, and making it all look easy. But behind her dazzling highlights is a league that almost blew it all up just to protect their own pride. Now the question becomes, is there still time to fix it? Or has the WNBA permanently branded itself as the league that fumbled a superstar because it couldn't get out of its own way? Let us know what you think. Is this epic faceplant by the WNBA about petty jealousy, institutional incompetence, or both? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment in this unfolding sports drama. Caitlin Clark's story is far from over, and neither is the reckoning it's bringing with it.